Good morning. We're going to talk about converting between fractions, decimals, and percent. And we're going to use this triangle to show how we go back and forth through each one. First thing we're going to learn is from fraction to a decimal. So from a fraction to a decimal, you're going to divide the numerator by the denominator. So if we have a fraction like 2/5, our numerator is 2 and our denominator is 5. So 2 would go in the house. We would divide 2 by 5, and that would equal 4/10. And that is how you get your decimal. Just remember that when you're dividing a fraction, the numerator always is the one that's being divided. And it's being divided by the denominator. So now we're going to learn about decimals to percents. To go from a decimal to a percent, you're going to multiply the decimal times 100. So we take our 4/10 and multiply it times 100, and that equals 40%. Knowing that this is just a place value shift, you can also just move the decimal 2 places to the right and add your percent sign, and that will change it to a percent as well. But the reason that works is because we are multiplying it times 100. From a percent to a fraction, you need to write the percent as a numerator and 100 as a denominator, and then simplify it. So let's go ahead and take our 40%, and we would write the 40 as a numerator, and that is out of 100, because percent means per 100. Then we need to simplify it. So the largest number that will go into both, largest factor that will go into both numbers is 20. And so that would equal 2/5. So now we're going to go the opposite direction. From fractions to percents. From a fraction to a percent, you need to convert the fraction to a decimal, then multiply by 100. So you would take your fraction, divide it by the denominator. So the numerator divided by the denominator, which gives us 4/10. And then multiply times 100, which gives us 40%. So let's go from a percent to a decimal. So remember how when we went from a decimal to a percent, we multiplied times 100. Well, here, going from a percent to a decimal, we need to divide the number by 100. Or we can just remove the percent and move the decimal to the left 2 places. So let's take our percent and write it as a fraction, because a fraction is a division problem, and we're going to take that numerator 40 and divide it by 100, which gives us 4/10. And lastly, we're going to change the decimal to a fraction. This one we just need to say it out loud and write it and then simplify it. 4/10. So what does that sound like? We say it out loud, 4/10. So we need to write 4/10. Now, can this be simplified? I believe there is a factor that they both share that can simplify it further. So if we divide each, the numerator and the denominator by 2, we get 2/5. And that's how you convert between fractions, decimals, and percents.